A woman's hidden power that men desire beyond sex. Two things women find it hard to give to men. Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating topic that often goes unnoticed but is incredibly powerful. A woman's hidden power that men desire beyond sex. If you're dating or in a new relationship, you may believe that sex is all that men seek in a relationship. However, therapists who deal with couples believe that while men enjoy and emphasize the sexual parts of the relationship, it's not the glue that keeps them together in a long-term relationship. While sex is commonly seen as the pinnacle of male desire, it's critical to dive deeper into the intricacies of what genuinely matters to men, to understand the two things that men crave more than sex. This video tries to shed light on men's deeper emotional, intellectual, and spiritual desires, emphasizing the fundamental parts that enhance their life beyond simple sexual fulfillment. Let's dive in. Contrary to the simplistic brain image of sex dominating the bulk of the male brain, there are three equally essential brain regions that currently control our lives. Helen Fisher, a research scientist, described these brain systems as lust, attraction, and attachment. To help you remember them, consider it's not a theory, it's the LAA. Another way to think about these three systems is that they focus our attention on sex, romance, and children. To help us understand how these three systems create the evolutionary origins of life, consider the fact that none of your ancient ancestors died childless. Now think about this astounding reality. We know your parents had at least one child, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Your grandparents must have had at least one child, or else your parents wouldn't be alive. And so on, all the way back to the beginning of our ancestors' histories. I'm sure we all have friends who will never have children, but this was not the case for your forefathers. Three events have to occur for you to be here. Your parents must have had enough lust to get them interested in sex, and they have to be attracted to one another. They had to stay together long enough to ensure that you survived and grew up. I believe the sex urge evolved to bring you out there looking for anything at all, adds Fisher. Romantic love, she believes, evolved to focus one's mating energies on just one person, whereas attachment works to keep us together long enough to ensure the child's survival. The attachment also offers the pleasurable experience of creating a life together. So, what are the two things men love more than sex? First thing is the sensation of falling in love, that crazy, wonderful emotion that drives us insane, yet we can't live without it. Dr. Fisher feels that romantic love is a stronger yearning than sex. People who do not have sex do not commit suicide or stop eating. People who are in love can do all sorts of crazy things. Sex is limited to the physical. Love has no physical boundaries. Love is physical, spiritual, and emotional. When you fall in love, specific regions of your brain are stimulated, including the limbic system and reward centers. The limbic system plays important functions in emotion and memory. This promotes a pleasant mood and explains why memories of new love are so strong. Furthermore, as we get older, our sex drive becomes less important than our need to have a companion who is there for us, actually understands us, loves us, and emotionally supports us. Most of us have come to believe that romance cannot last throughout the years, and we have to give up that feeling for the more mature feelings of profound emotional connection. However, a recent study from Dr. Fisher's group demonstrates that romantic love can still be present in persons who have been married for 20, 30, or even 40 years. So, beyond sex, what do guys want? First thing is romantic love. So, what is the second thing? We've all heard that women need to feel loved in order to have sex, whereas men need to have sex to feel loved. Let's go further into what males get when they have sex. Sure, there's physical pleasure, but a deeper need is being met. I refer to it as the need for a safe harbor. Men's worlds are competitive ones. At the most basic level, males compete with one another for access to the most desirable females. Males make the advances, and females decide which males they will accept. Sure, these roles are less rigid now than they were, but for the most part, whether we're peacocks or people, we strut our stuff and hope it's good enough to get us picked by the woman we want. Getting into her body provides us with a sense of serenity and belonging that extends well beyond basic sexual pleasure. Of course, I'm referring to heterosexual guys here. Many of us remember our early school dances. If a guy wanted to hold a girl in his arms, he had to walk across the room in front of everyone and ask her to dance. If she accepted, he would be in heaven. If she rejected, he would be in hell. The main point here is that he must be open to rejection in order to hold and be held by a woman. By the time we reach adulthood, we've already been battered and scarred by the world of competition and rejection. We long for a secure haven where we don't have to pretend to be someone we're not in order to be chosen. We long for someone who accepts us for who we are and wants us anyhow, someone who can hug and touch not only our bodies, but also our hearts and souls. Always wanting sex is part of the male persona we wear to show our masculinity. What we truly desire is a secure harbor where we may seek refuge, rest, and be cared for. In other words, we want to be nurtured, something most of us did not have enough as children. But expressing these urges makes us feel like little boys rather than big, strong men. It's better to be masculine with our sexual urge, and then once we're inside our body, we can relax, be ourselves, and be filled with love. That is the hidden desire we have when we have sex. Just as it's difficult for men to ask to be held, nourished, and touched, it's also difficult for women to give that level of closeness. There are three major explanations for this, most of which are subconscious. First, women have their own preconceived notions about men being men. If he does not desire sex, women have worries that they may not be attractive enough. Second, a guy wanting to be held and nurtured gives the impression that they're dealing with a boy rather than a man. Third, women are afraid of males who do not feel masculine. They understand that the most violent males are those who feel weak and powerless. They've had several situations with males allowing themselves to be kind and vulnerable, only to have them respond with anger and rage later. It takes time and maturity for men to admit to themselves that they require a safe haven where they may be nourished and welcomed by a woman. It takes a lot of guts for him to tell his lady that while he wants sex, his fundamental needs are security, love, and nurturing. It takes a certain amount of understanding to see that allowing ourselves to be as vulnerable as a child may be the manliest thing a man can do. A woman must also go beyond her own conditioning and be receptive to a man who is making himself vulnerable in new ways. She must have a high level of self-esteem and confidence in order to embrace being a safe harbor. She must also be able to protect herself when his shame at being vulnerable manifests as worry, wrath, or sadness. It's difficult for men and women to take such risks, but the reward is a lifetime of deeper love and closeness. A strong connection is based on these two fundamental elements. These elements are critical for sustaining a good and robust relationship, giving a firm foundation for improving not just the emotional and psychological bond between couples, but also any sexual issues that may emerge. Prioritizing these two characteristics helps couples improve their knowledge and admiration for one another, guaranteeing a long-term and meaningful relationship. Well, there you have it. Two things men want more than sex in a relationship, and women find hard to give. Hope the video helped, and thank you for watching.